I have now come to that age where my body has weakened to the point I can no longer remain active in our society. In keeping with our ancient traditions, I write this text so that my knowledge may be added to the great archive to aid future generations in this existence. I had not thought much of this day until now, being quite occupied with the construction and later defence of some of our newest planetary colonies. I searched both my mind and our great archive for a subject I could possibly contribute to with any real meaning, and finally decided that I shall write on that enigmatic species known as humanity. But first I shall recount some basic history to ensure the clarity of this text. It was only a single generation ago when we first left our homeworld and began to colonize the nearby planets. Our homeworld's population was vastly too large, and we had more than enough to shy youth and adults alike to quickly inhabit the two habitable worlds we found in our home system. We rapidly developed a way to travel faster than light itself to our nearest two neighbour systems and terraform another 3 planets each. Then we discovered that we were not alone in this existence. Not 4 ages later, the race known as the Juxli came to our home with greetings. They were proud we had finally reached into space and began to set our foothold in the galaxy. They informed us they had been monitoring the systems we decided to inhabit since we first crawled out of the great waters of our native world and developed the earliest of society, and left us to grow in peace. They patrolled our home regularly to keep away those who would do us harm. They offered us some compliments to our technology to make further development easier, charts and maps of the known galaxy detailing the locations and territorial holds of the other races, and favourable trade to aid in our further development as a now spacefaring species. They also offered us a seat on their great council of sentient species, which we gladly accepted. Among the charts, however, was a quite large section of space, larger than any other held territory, simply labelled "Avoid at all costs." Our leaders asked why. The Juxli diplomat was said to grow less joyful at this question and became very stern. He had said, "That is the territory of the humans. They are neutral, but as far from peaceful as is possible. They are not enemies. They will not harm you without reason. They will not interact with you unless you seek them. This is the best course of action, but if you wish to attempt it, you may greet them in peace, and they will likely respond politely with a request to go away, for you are too underdeveloped to have anything to offer in trade. No matter what you decide, however, heed this warning. Never enter their territory uninvited." We were frightened by this knowledge, yet still curious. We accessed the Juxli's own great archives to learn more of the other races in the galaxy. On humans we found testimony from over 900 other species, and almost all of it conflicting. All that was generally agreed on is that they were among the oldest space travellers. After a great civil war on their homeworld around the time they built ships, capable of travelling at high subluminal speeds, this tribal species annihilated all but about half a dozen of their tribes. The Juxli believe after this war they developed superluminal travel and went out to the stars, hoping never again to have a war so terrible. They did not find any life among the stars until they colonized an absolutely massive amount of systems and asteroid fields in the void between stars, where they met the Korgan. The Korgan were a race of extreme military focus. Shortly after hearing of this encounter, the Juxli, who had previously encountered the Korgan, went to greet this new race. For some time there was peace, diplomacy, trade, and in some cases sharing of planets between humans and other races. A few small skirmishes broke out between humanity and the other races, but nothing abnormal. Then the Korgan decided to declare a full war on humanity. The actual details of that war are more conflicted than any other information on the humans, but this was the final recorded message from any Korgan world before they seemingly dropped out of existence, sent to every race they knew of. "We thought ourselves the strongest, the bravest, and the most powerful. We tamed the stars as we tamed our world, and as we tamed our minds and bodies. We abandoned the ancient gods of our people, thinking them no more than mere stories of a primitive race. We were wrong. Arrogant in our strength, we unknowingly opened the gates to the other world, seeking to conquer what was behind. Instead, it met us with a smile, a perverse toothed grin, and a maniacal laugh. We ravaged the first few areas we saw, but in doing so, brought forth the demons. The savages of the otherworld tore into us. None was safe, regardless of age or capability. They tore us limb from limb, or destroyed us from afar, turning us into the mere basic atoms of our composition. Our souls brought screaming into the gaping maw. We fought, but could not hold back the advancing wall of teeth and weapons. We prayed to our ancient gods, but were unanswered. We hid, but were always found. The demons lost many, but they are endless. Stay away from these beasts if you value your people. After this war began the great isolation of humanity. There was some kind of civil war between the humans, where a new leader was installed, but this information is very sparse, and only a few notations from Juxley observers can be found. There was no longer any such thing as a small skirmish with humanity. Any hostile action against this race resulted in the aggressor facing the same fate as the Korgan, save those very few the Juxley managed to convince the humans to leave at their Stone Age states. The Juxley believed that after their dreams of relative peace were crushed in the Great Korgan War, they refocused onto developing an endless advancing military, so that never again would they face such great human casualties. It is also believed by the Juxley that they lost almost all trust in other races. However, Juxley diplomats and merchants are still accepted. It is confirmed they will not occupy or encroach on any other sentient race's territory, instead spreading into the plentiful areas of empty space. Unless, of course, it is in response to an attack. At which point, entire empires will be destroyed and held by the humans. All other information on the humans since this war is uncertain. Some say they are quite polite, kind, and even good friends. Others say they are completely insane and entirely unpredictable. For many, they are near mythological beings, only spoken of as hypothetical. Many more view them similarly to the Korgan in the last days of that race. With this information, our leaders decided to heed the Juxley's advice, and decided to pretend the humans didn't exist, after sharing this warning with the rest of our people. It was nearly another 100 ages until we next had any reason to think of this race. I was only just at that time a fully grown Dashai, aiding in the construction of a new wave city on the freshly terraformed world. Then our leaders sent an emergency broadcast to all Dashai populations, on planets or in space. A ship had entered our home system, matching exactly to Juxley descriptions of a human vessel.